Welcome back to Young Smart Money, show number 8, the show that sets you up for lifelong financial success with personal stories and actionable advice that we certainly did not learn at school. Today, I'm really excited for this episode. We're back at it with another interview. I'm really digging the interviews. I'm getting a ton out of them. I hope you guys are too. Be sure to let me know, apple@applecrider.com, how you guys feel about the interview style of the shows lately. But today, we've got a really cool guest on, and he is a guy that I think he's doing some really cool stuff. He is a creator. He has both a blog and an Instagram page called Operation Retirement. His name is Carlos, and he's doing some really cool stuff with regard to just educating people on how investing really works. And he is a young person himself, so when I saw him doing cool stuff, I had to reach out on Instagram. I had to say, man, I really dig what you're doing, and I would love to have you on the show. So that is what we are doing today. So without further ado, let us welcome in Carlos from Operation Retirement. All right, so today on the show, we have a very special guest. Today we have Carlos from Operation Retirement, which is a blog and a Instagram page. So I'm really excited to have him here. I'm really excited that he is taking the time to share with us today where he's coming from, what he's doing. So it's really cool stuff, and I think you guys can really benefit from it. It's pretty similar to what I'm doing. So without further ado, I'm just going to let Carlos introduce himself a little bit. So Carlos, if you wouldn't mind telling the audience a bit about yourself, maybe like what stage of life you're in, where you're from, just like your background in general, so they can get a better feel for who you are.
All right, thanks, Apple. My name is Carlos. I am originally from Germany, raised in New Jersey and Florida. I currently live in Tampa, Florida right now, and I'm in college right now.
Cool. What are you studying?
Right now, I'm studying business management.
Nice.
So really,
Cool. Well, would you just tell us a little bit about Operation Retirement? So for those of our audience that is not familiar with what you're up to, could you fill them in with what you're doing over there? Because I know it's a blog and an Instagram page, but can you give us a little more background as to what that's all about?
Okay, so myself, Operation Retirement was created by me and a friend of mine who lives actually in Virginia. He actually messaged me on my personal Instagram, and because we both like to trade stocks, we collaborated about the financial markets, and then from there we decided to create an Instagram page sharing our stocks that we buy and sell, trade, and just talk about finances in between, a little bit of personal finances, but we mostly focus on just talking about trading the stock market.
Cool. So he just reached out because you had a personal Instagram where you were putting some stuff up about stocks, and he was like, that looks pretty cool. So I think I might. So then you guys just like started working together?
Yep.
Cool. That's really interesting. I never knew how you two met. So I think that's a cool story that you guys didn't really know each other, but he just reached out to you.
Yeah.
That's the power of the Instagram direct message, guys. DM people all day, every day. That is some powerful stuff. Like you can really hook up some business opportunities through Instagram DMs. Like I first heard about that through Gary Vaynerchuk, and I've just been implementing that like hardcore. So if you guys want one piece of actionable advice, DM people who are doing cool stuff, and you never know, you might be able to interview them on your podcast. You might be able to do some really cool stuff. So pro tip. All right. So my next question was just how did you find someone to collaborate with? But I guess now we haven't answered that. He just hit you up on a DM. So that takes care of that. Right. Did you have, like, before he reached out to you, did you have any plans of like starting any kind of like resource or blog or anything? Or was this sort of just like spur of the moment?
It was on my mind to create a blog. I just didn't know exactly what I wanted to do until he messaged me, and ever since we collaborated, and then that's when we started creating the blog itself and the website, and not the website, but also the Instagram page.
Cool. Which one came first, the blog or the Instagram?
The Instagram page came first. I believe we started like around February, and then we created the website around late January, early February, and Operation Retirement came out like late December, I would say. So
cool. So the Instagram, was that just first because you thought it'd be easier to like set it up and stuff than putting a whole website together?
Yeah, so we were just getting started, and we wanted to see how much we would grow as a page, and we're slowly growing, and we noticed that since we're focusing on options trading now, we have been getting more and more followers because a lot of people want to see how we manage to make profits, but also how can we teach people how to do options trading too. So
Yeah, and I think it's really powerful, picking a specific niche rather than just like the whole stock market investing area, because there's so much you could go into there. I think picking a specific niche like options investing really is a good way to attract people, because if people find a page that they're like, oh, this is about stock market investing, they're not really sure, is this for me? But if they're trading options and then they find a page about trading options, then they're going to be a lot more interested, because it really speaks more to them, because it's very more like niche down into something that's a lot more applicable to them. So I think that's a really good idea. And I'm trying to do that more myself, because my podcast and YouTube channel are they're very widespread. Like I have a lot of different topics throughout my videos and podcasts. So I think that is a very valuable tip to really niche down and pick like a certain specific thing that you're really into and go all in on that, because that's going to really allow you to attract a lot more people who are interested in that specific thing. So I think it's a really good idea that you guys decided to go more narrow than just like the whole retirement in general.
yeah, it is.
What are some strategies that you're using to attract more people, or just like get awareness out about like your page or your blog?
We just simply post daily, at least maybe like 2 to 3 posts a day relating to what we want to talk about. Sometimes it could be about options trading or our plans on what exactly we want to trade in within the upcoming week or during the day. So
cool. That's an impressive amount of content, to be honest. I mean, I'm only using my Instagram once a day, but to be able to put out 2 or 3 pieces of content a day, that's really valuable. And I see you guys are using some hashtags as well, which is a great way to reach new audiences besides just who's already following you. So right. I think it's a good idea. But you guys aren't like doing, I don't know, do you just like promote it to like friends and family too? Nothing really like big.
I share it with some of my coworkers.
Oh, okay.
Our page and the way I like to invest, so it interested. And some of my friends from work do actually follow my page. So
nice. Yeah, I think it's really important to like leverage your own social networks and just talk to people who you already surround yourself with and who are interested in what you're doing, and just sort of tell them about like what you're up to. Because if people don't know, like if your friends and family don't know what you're doing, then they're never gonna like follow you. But if you tell them what you're doing, they might be interested. They might follow you. So I think it's really important to like tell people what you're actually up to, what you're doing, because if you don't, then how are they going to know? How are they going to support you if they don't actually know what you're up to? So I think that's pretty important. So clearly you do have an interest in investing in the stock market, et cetera, which is not something that's super common for a person as young as you or me. Say you're a sophomore in college. So can you talk a little bit about how you came to be interested in investing, options trading, all of that in the first place?
I originally started options trading, I'll say about 2 months ago, and
wow.
I actually found out I unlocked the Robinhood actually released options trading. There was a wait list.
Yeah,
it only took probably maybe about a month, and then I got into it. So I checked it out, see how it is. I wasn't too familiar with it, so I looked it up on YouTube to see if anybody has done options trading on Robinhood yet, and they did. So I just picked up from their information, and I also go to Investopedia and a bunch of other resources to see how option trading works in general. And then from there, I just took action.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, there's just an abundance of free resources on the internet. I mean, YouTube, like any investing question you ever had, there are at least like 25 videos, maybe even 25,000 videos if it's a very widely asked question about that exact thing, like options trading on Robinhood. It might seem like it's a very small topic, but actually, if you look it up, there's probably hundreds, if not thousands of videos about it. So, and again, Investopedia, there's just so many free resources online that if people knew about, if they knew they could take advantage of, I think they could really, really leverage these to learn a lot more about all kinds of things, not just investing. But I think, like you said, there's just such an abundance of free information. And some people who think they can't get started unless they pay a financial advisor or they sign up for a course. I think people just need to step back and like take what's free and go from there, because there is just so much free information out there.
There is. If there's anything that really just interests you, you should just take the time to research it and see if it's something you really would like to do. You don't have to rush through it, but at least have an understanding of what it is.
Exactly. Because there's so much to learn. And if you just sit back like thinking like what ifs all day and like, oh, I should learn that, I should do this, like actually just do it. Like just doing it seems hard, But it sounds like you were able to, like, within just the last 2 months, you really learned all about it and just taken action, which is really, really important. Can you talk a little bit about some of the resources that you think would be beneficial for young people who are trying to get started investing? Like you mentioned Investopedia. Are there any specific YouTube channels that you really like, or any other websites that are really good for investing, in your opinion?
For YouTube, I do have a few YouTube.
Okay.
I would say I recommend. I like US versus Herd. I have put a blog post about that channel specifically for options trading.
Can you spell that?
It's US.
Okay.
And then it's versus VS.
Okay.
And then Herd HERD.
Oh, okay, perfect.
And another one that I do follow too is Tech Crack House or Tech Cash House. That's what he does. He has like two different names at the same time.
Okay.
Tech Crash House / Tech Cash House.
Okay, cool. Is that also more specifically for options trading?
Just about investing in general with the stock.
Cool.
With Robinhood. He also tries out different applications.
Cool.
Another one I recommend too is Dr. Dividend.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of his stuff. Yeah, he does a lot of stuff on Robinhood.
Yeah. So, and I know a lot of young people would like to use Robinhood because it's free commissions compared to E-Trade or Scottrade or any other financial brokerage account you have to pay.
Yeah.
And over time.
I haven't talked a lot about it in the podcast, but I have a couple YouTube videos that talk about why I use Robinhood and just why it's so beneficial. But for those of you who aren't aware, it's basically a brokerage that you can use. They have an app as well as a desktop version, but essentially it allows you to buy and sell stocks for free, which is pretty revolutionary, because if you want to do that with any other brokerage, like you were mentioning with your E-Trades, your Fidelity, your Scottrades, all of these guys, you're going to be paying commissions every time you trade. So every time you buy or sell a stock, you're going to be paying a commission, which can really range anywhere from about $5 to all the way up to about $10. So if you're trading with as little as, say, $100, if you're just getting started as a college student, that can really eat into any potential profits you have. So that's why it's really important. That's why Robinhood is a great resource for people who are younger, just getting started out, don't have as much money. So I'm glad you pointed that out, and that is a really good resource that I think all young people who are starting to get invested should definitely be taking advantage of, because it is completely free, and it's just a great way to get your feet wet, get started investing at a young age.
Exactly. Another thing too is that if you do have like a brokerage account with another firm and you want to transfer your stocks into your Robinhood account so you don't have to worry about the commission fees, you can in fact do that.
And is that completely free?
Inside the app itself, and where you can do that.
Is that free to transfer from?
It should be free to transfer, yes.
Wow. Okay, cool. I wasn't even aware of that. So that's a cool feature. Yeah, currently I invest both in a Robinhood account and with a Roth IRA through Fidelity. And the Roth IRA is just there for a retirement account. And I don't really move around much in there, so I'm not paying too much in commissions. All right. So if you could give one piece of advice to all of the 18 to 25-year-olds who are listening to this and have not yet started to invest, what would that piece of advice be?
My recommendation is, I definitely think it's important that you do invest in yourself. So it's not just about putting money into the stock market account. You know, as a young person, 18, I would say the number one thing that you should do is not go to school right away and figure out what exactly you want to do for yourself. Unless you already know what you want to do, go ahead. But I would say get yourself a job, part-time or full-time, work for a year, see get an idea where you would like to be in your life, and just go from there. Maybe take a trip somewhere, start exploring yourself, finding yourself, build better habits for yourself. It's really important that you focus on personal development.
I think that's really, really important. And in episode, I believe it was episode 6 or episode 5, I had an interview with my friend Chase. And we talked on that a lot as well, on the decision to go straight into college from high school, or to take some time to do some personal development, figure out what you actually like to do, rather than just rushing into something because maybe your parents are pressuring you to do it, or you think it's just like the thing to do is you need to go to school right away. But if you actually take the time to evaluate your options, like look at yourself, look at what you like to do, and where you want to be in the long term. That's just really, really beneficial in finding a good path for you. Because I mean, obviously the 4-year degree is not the best path for everybody. Like clearly that's not the case, but it seems like that is what it is supposed to be the path for us. That's what our parents want us to do. That's what society wants you to do. But like, it's like you said, it's really, really important to like get an idea for who you are, what you like to do, rather than just rushing into something because you think it's the thing to do, when in reality there are many different options for you, not just the 4-year degree right away.
Right.
So beyond investing, I think it's really cool that you went like before you talked about learning, like you started investing in options, but then you went beyond just the learning and you went on to actually create content on this Instagram page and this blog to teach other people. So I think that's really, really cool. And I really, really respect the people who take that leap from consuming content to actually creating content. So can you talk a little bit on how you actually decided to start creating and move from the consuming to the creating?
Me and my friend Thomas, the ones that we create Operation Return together, we just thought about just sharing our experiences with trading and presenting them to people. We want people to be able to understand it. We want people to discuss. We want to be able to show people that we are making progress, and we show our winners, but we also show our losers, because it's important to share that we're not, no matter how good of a trader you are, no matter if you're starting from the bottom or even at the top, like you're killing it, you're always going to lose no matter what. And
absolutely.
That's one thing for sure. And aside from creating, I'm more of like something that's in my mind. So whatever's in my mind, I do my best to put it into the page itself. Like my mind is always coming up with ideas, and it's all over the place. So
cool. Were there any big hurdles that you faced when you were moving and starting to create this page, starting to put out content and blog articles and Instagram posts? Like, were there any big like struggles that you faced?
I would say the thing that I struggled with in the beginning was being able to find out what exactly I wanted to post. At first, we started, just doing, a little bit of personal finances, just sharing my experiences with my personal finances, and then my other friends' personal finances too. We did a little bit of that, but then we decided to, switch into the stock market, share our trades, and we started to go slowly from there. And then we kind of was like, keep looking farther up and down. We were like stagnant. And then when we started to get into options, which was when we started to post options trades, maybe not even 2 weeks ago, that's when we started to see a huge increase of followers from there.
Wow.
And we know it's okay. You know what? Options is what people want to see. So we're going to keep doing that until whatever people want to see something new.
Cool.
We'll definitely go along with what the people want to see. So
nice.
That's your audience.
Yeah, that's some big moves recently for you guys, which is pretty cool. Okay, so what are some things that actually, first I just want to address the fact that I think people have in their heads that it's going to be a lot harder to start something like an Instagram page or a blog or a website or really anything. People have it in their heads that it's going to be a lot harder to do. But I mean, like you said, once you, like, your biggest struggle was just like figuring out what to post. And like, it seems like you guys have got that down by now because you're putting out like 2 to 3 pieces of content a day, which is really, really cool. So I think people just overestimate how hard it's going to be. And in reality, like, it's not that bad. And like, once you actually get over that hurdle of actually posting your first couple pieces of content, you sort of get the ball rolling. At least that's my experience. Was it like that for you? Like, once you started to get the first couple things posted, then it was a lot easier for you to just like keep going?
Right, because you get an idea of what you want to post, and then, if you use the hashtags too, people will start to notice your page, and then followers will start coming in. It just goes up. It just goes from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I didn't get on Instagram until probably about a month and a half ago, maybe. But I can tell you that as soon as I started posting stuff on Instagram, and like once I got hashtags figured out and stuff, it was really easy to get the ball rolling. And now I'm getting more and more engagements every day. I'm reaching more and more people every day. And I think it's a great platform. really for anything, whether that be personal finance or whatever you're interested in. I think there's room for everybody to make a page on what interests them, what they get a lot of value out of, what they enjoy doing. And there's just always room for people to show people what they're doing and provide value for other people. I think that's my opinion. There's always room.
Exactly. And there is, you can go put yourself out there, start one post. And I'll say that over time, you want to avoid being mediocre by,
oh yeah,
you still have to be creative. You can't just be, boring. You need to change. You always have to be willing to make some changes and listen to your positive and negative comments, because you can always learn from both.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to be willing to be flexible. You got to be willing to adapt, because I mean, nothing is stagnant for very long. So you always have to be willing to try something new, get out of your comfort zone. But I think once you start going, once you start posting content, getting a feel for what people like, what people respond well to, it really is a lot easier to just like keep on rolling and just scale up from there. At least in my opinion, that's how it's been for me. So what are some things that you learned when you started creating posts on Instagram and blog articles? Like, what was some of your early feedback? What did that look like?
Let's see. Really, it was just more of learning exactly what people wanted to see.
Okay.
Say people wanted to see, oh, how can you help us, teach us how to do this? Or I did not understand this meaning. Can you tell me what this meaning is?
Okay. So just like direct questions about like clarifying what you guys are talking about, or just trying to get, okay, cool. So nothing like too big, but mostly just like the little nitpicky stuff of like, I didn't quite understand this. Okay, cool. Yeah, I get a lot of that as well on my YouTube channel. Sometimes I like speed through stuff and people are like, what do you mean? What did you just say? So I get that a lot. But yeah, that's good that people were like with like the main focus of your stuff and they were just asking about the little stuff.
Right.
So we covered how much content you're putting out on Instagram, about 2 to 3 posts a day. What about on your blog? How active are you there? How often are you putting new stuff out there?
I personally blog once a week on my days off of work. So just once a week. Sometimes I could do 2, but majority of the time it's always been 1.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, long form stuff like a blog, that's definitely a lot more time commitment. When my blog, I have not been keeping up with that at all. And it's sort of fallen off lately just because I'm trying to get the podcast going. Well, I've gotten the podcast going, but we're putting out YouTube videos every day and the podcast every week. So there wasn't really as much room for the blog. And personally, I don't know about you, but I don't really enjoy the writing aspect of a blog, which is why I sort of let that drop off. I wasn't really enjoying it that much. I just think it's a lot of writing. I mean, I'm not the strongest writer, to be honest. I'm definitely better at speaking than writing as far as that goes. But yeah, that's me personally. What do you find? Like, you guys don't make videos, correct?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. So do you enjoy the writing aspect of a blog?
I do, yeah. Especially if it's something that I know I would like to post.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, yes, I do. I don't mind writing it.
All right, that's good. I mean,
research.
Yeah.
I put my own thought into it. So
cool. Yeah, I mean, as long as you're enjoying it, that's what it's all about. But yeah, I know for me personally, just like self-awareness wise, like I'm not the best at writing. I'm always like trying to tweak it and try to make it the most perfect. But I don't know. I find I'm able to get my point across better in other forms besides just writing. But that's just me. Let's see. So yeah, you're putting out about one blog a week and a couple Instagram posts a day. That's impressive. Like as far as content goes, I'm always impressed with how much stuff people are putting out there, and just the people are putting stuff out there in the first place. Because if you're not putting anything out there, how do you expect anything to happen? Because you're not doing anything, you're not creating anything. But what you're doing it's really cool. I really admire anybody who like goes out there and actually like starts something instead of just sitting around and saying like, well, what if I should do this, blah blah blah.
Right. And so many people are like that, and they eventually will regret it later down the line.
Exactly, because you're always gonna regret the chances you don't take. And I think just regret is just so much worse than like failure, because like failure, it's inevitable. Like whatever you do, you're gonna fail eventually. So you got to embrace that and just worry about the things that you're gonna regret not doing. Really, that's what it comes down to for me, at least. Like you're gonna regret stuff a lot more than you're gonna like be sad that you failed or like So it's really important to take chances and not dwell on like, oh, what could happen, but like just make stuff happen. That's what I say. Next thought, how do you stay motivated to put out content? Because you are putting out, I mean, a bit of content, especially on Instagram. So how do you stay motivated? Are there ever times where you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, or how do you stay in the zone?
I just say motivated by simply just posting exactly what I win, what I lose, what's in my mind about what I want to put in the trades or stock market. Sometimes it could just be a news event. So
okay,
being on a computer pretty constantly, it also gives me ideas. So I just say that sometimes I don't post every day, but I definitely just stay motivated by realizing we are slowly growing, we are progressing with our trades, we're making more money ourselves. So even when we lose it, it's always a learning lesson to realize, you know what, there's always opportunity out there no matter what. You just can't stop yourself just because you're losing. So many people
real
easily, but they don't realize that you have to put in the work and keep learning from it to where you want to be in your life.
Yeah, and I mean that's so cool that you're sharing that with people, because I know so many people who like make stock market videos on YouTube or have a blog or have an Instagram page, and they only post the winners. Like they don't post both sides of the story. And it's really cool to see when people are like being real with you and they're actually showing you the good, the bad, the ugly, everything, because that's just so much more real than only showing the good stuff and pretending everything's perfect and pretending like you're just the smartest trader in the world because you never mess up. Like that's BS, and people can see that from a mile away.
And I can see that might be that myself. That separates a lot from many of the other people who also post similar content to me. They only show their winners, but they don't really show their losers at all, or even at all. So I want to keep it real. There's nothing to be ashamed of losing, because
exactly.
You need to show people that, you know what, this guy is the real thing.
Exactly. And in life, it's really not a matter of if you lose. In my opinion, it's a matter of when you lose, because everybody's going to lose. And it's just a matter of how you're going to respond to that. And if you're going to get right back up and try again, or if you're going to sit and cry because you just lost. Like you really just got to keep going. You really just got to figure out how you're going to respond to your losses and stick with that and keep on going. And I think it really does stand out when people are showing the winners and the losers instead of just like bragging about how good they are. So that's really cool that you guys are doing that. I really respect that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. What advice would you give to somebody? Because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who are watching this that are like, man, I'm really interested in, I don't know, sneakers or I don't know, cars. And what would you tell somebody that's like really, they have an interest and they want to start an Instagram page or a blog? What advice would you give to them?
I would say whatever's on their mind, to just go for it. Start making. If you want to post, your favorite sneakers, go for it. Just whatever that's on your mind, whatever you want to post, just go for it. And just do it. Don't regret not doing it later. Just try it out, see how it works for you. If it doesn't work out, then figure out a way you can make it happen, or just move on to something else, because not everything is always going to work out for you, but it's worth giving it a try at least.
Yes, I'm so with that. Like the first step and like the only step is to do. Like there's no plan, there's no anything. Like the first step is to just do, and that's all you have to do. Like don't spend all day in your head and just like planning, thinking about, oh, I could do this, I could do that. No, just put something out there, see how the market responds, and go from there. Like if people don't like it, then fine, try something else, do something different. But it really just comes down to doing and continuously doing, putting out content and providing value and just showing people what you're up to. Because if you're doing stuff that provides value and that's interesting, that's educational, that's entertaining, whatever, if people find value in it, they're going to watch it, they're going to engage with it, they're going to give you positive feedback. So that's key, in my opinion, is just you really have to do. Like, don't just sit in your head all day and think about what ifs and think about all the things you could do. Like, what are you actually doing? Make what you're actually doing count. Because if you're not doing anything, if you're not actually taking action, then you don't have anything, and you're not doing anything. So you really do have to just like take that first step. And I'm so with you. That's like that's where people get caught up, and that's where people need to just like step back and be like, hey, I haven't actually done anything yet. Let's do something, see what happens, and move from there. Because I think people forget that they're never like committed to something. Like you could have started a page on cars like a year ago, and nobody would have any idea. Like if you started that page and then you lost interest, you could just get rid of it, start something else. Nobody has to know, and you're never committed to anything. So I mean, just post something. If you don't like it, if you don't like how it turns out, you can just delete it. Like you're never committed to anything. You're never locked into anything. So people, just like step back and look at the bigger picture that there's always room to pivot. There's always room to change. So just put something out there and see what happens. Where do you see Operation Retirement going over the next couple months or years?
I would like to see Operation Retirement grow even more. We will continue to be posting, about trades. I would like to start making videos too. Also, we just want to be a page where we post real trades with real results to educate people and to show people that trading will always be a skill that anybody can learn.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if you're just going to trade for long term or you're just going to be like swing trading, day trading, that if there's anything you want to do in this world, that is possible. And it's good to learn from people who keep the posts real.
Yeah, I mean, you got to learn from people who are actually doing, and you got to learn from people who are being real with you, because learning from people who are just sitting on the sidelines, if they're not doing what you want to be doing, then you shouldn't try to learn from them, because they're not actually doing it. So you got to look at the people who are doing what you want to be doing and like talk to them, pick their brains, figure out what they're doing, what makes them tick, and just figure out from them, because that's the people that you want to be learning from, not the people who are sitting on the sidelines preaching and teaching their online courses about stuff they have no business talking about. It's about learning from the people who are actually doing. So you said you want to branch out maybe into video. I think that's a really good idea. I have a ton of fun with videos, and there's so many ways you can take a video. You can do in person, you can share your computer screen, you can do an animation video. Like there's just so many ways to take videos. And I think they're a really great way. I mean, honestly, me personally, I watch a lot more videos than I read blog posts. I'm just going to be real, because my attention span to like sit down and read a blog post, it's waning. I mean, I do read a lot of books, but as far as like consuming content online, I'm definitely on YouTube more than anything.
I would say the same thing too. Also, I'm more into YouTube content because it's visually engaging and it just captures your
Exactly.
time. And I read books too, but I have slowed down on it because I'm focusing on other things.
That's real. You gotta know where your priorities are at. But the fact that you're actually doing is like, I would say to somebody, like, create something over reading a book any day of the week, because creating something actually puts something out there, actually like puts something new into the world. Whereas just reading a book, maybe you take action on it, maybe you don't. But if you're creating something, I think that's a lot more powerful than just sitting back and learning. Because if you don't do anything with what you learn, then what's the point? And at least in my opinion. Have you thought about starting a podcast at all?
A podcast? No, I never thought about it, honestly.
Okay.
But if it's something that I could branch out to in the future, then possibly.
Yeah. I think podcasts are really cool just because you can consume them like whenever. Like you don't have to sit down and read something, even if it's on your phone. You don't have to sit down and watch a YouTube video. Like I just think the friction there, it's just so much easier to consume like on the go. I know I listen to podcasts while I'm biking to work, while I'm working out, while I'm going for a run. There's just so many times where you can listen to podcasts. So I think they're a good idea. I think they're a good way to create content that people can consume wherever. But they're also, I don't know, they're interesting. I like podcasts. So you said you have read a little bit. Have you read any like financial or investing books in particular that have had a significant impact on you, your life, your investing, anything like that?
I have read the books, the little comic book of Common Sense Investing and A Random Walk Down Wall Street. I would say they are pretty good books if you're somebody who wants to invest in the long term. And they usually talk about like 401ks and index funds. I'm not doing any of those, but they're pretty useful. You're somebody who wants to keep it safe.
Yeah.
I would say they haven't really made a big impact on me, but it's good. It's good to learn about.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a book that really has made a significant impact on me is it's called The High Hanging Fruit by Mark Wampello. He is the creator of the Zico coconut waters. So if you ever go to the grocery store, you see the Zico coconut waters. This is the guy who made it all. And I love this book a lot. It's like one of my favorite books of all time because he shares his experience of working as a account executive, working for international paper, to running a coconut water company, which is completely different from what he's doing.
Yeah. Wacky.
It's just the details that he shares on his book as it's really great. So
interesting. So is it like his story of how he went from A to B, or is it like a informational book, or what kind of book are we talking about?
It's a A to B book.
Okay, so his story. Okay, yeah. Cool. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'll have to check those out. I'll link those up in the show notes as well at applecrider.com/008. Also, yeah, in episode 5, when I was talking to Chase, he also mentioned A Random Walk Down Wall Street. That was his like #1 pick for somebody who was thinking about investing. I still haven't read it yet. It's on the list, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, so I'll link up those 3 books below. What do you think separates college and high school students that have control of their finances from those who do not? Because honestly, when I look around, most of my peers really have no idea the fundamentals of investing, saving their money for retirement, just getting control of their money in general. So what do you think is like the main separator between people who know what's up and people who don't?
I would say it comes from different situations. For example, the parents never taught their children how to save or just investing in general. The only thing I heard from my mom is to save and get a good job. And, it's pretty basic advice you hear from a lot of parents that aren't as financially savvy enough to understand. They don't really know how to invest their money. So they just put in a 401k, which is fun too. If you want to say, get a 401k, that's fine. But I like having an individual account because I like to grow my money.
Yeah.
It's important that if you're in high school or even in college, that you need to learn the understanding of personal finances. You can learn your resources from YouTube or Instagram. There's a lot of Instagram pages where you can learn about personal finances, and YouTube.
Yep.
Definitely a lot of blog articles. And the younger you are, the better opportunity you have to become financially stable and build a good fortune for yourself.
And I mean, the content that's out there, especially like Instagram and YouTube, it's so unintimidating. Like, people are worried that they're not going to know anything, that they're going to be lost in like the terminology and stuff. But like the content on Instagram and YouTube, it's just so like beginner friendly and so unintimidating and so easy to like get started and get your feet wet that it's a lot easier to get started than people think it is. And once you actually do get started, it's a lot easier to just keep going. Could you talk a little bit about on how you got started? Because you said how you got started like interested in investing and stuff, just because you said your parents weren't like super into it. All they told you to do was save and get a good job. So how did you actually find your interest in investing?
I grew up with a single mother, so it comes from a different financial situation. I know my aunt and her husband, she invests in stocks, but they have simple 401k also. But they were the most financially stable in family. They're pretty successful themselves, and I learned from them a little bit. But I mostly learned from myself by just simply researching. I wanted to learn how can I invest my money so I can build a future for myself.
Lost you for a little bit. No worries.
I keep having people calling me. It's getting annoying.
No worries. You said that you were interested in learning how to invest, so you started researching online.
Yes, I researched online, and I wanted to be able to learn how I can build a financial future for myself. So
cool. Was that you just wanted to get your money working for you? So you decided you want to start learning how to invest?
Yes.
Cool. That's some initiative that not most not most young people are taking. So I mean, props to you for that, because that's a step further than most people are going.
Yeah, thank you. I just like, I'm more of, I would say I'm a self-starter person. Like, there's something that interests me, I will look it up. I'll just look it up just for the sake of it, because I want to understand what is it. And a lot of people, like we mentioned earlier, they just talk about it, they just think about it, but they don't take any action for themselves.
Yeah, that's powerful though. Like if you have a question, the internet will tell you the answer. Like there are very few questions that the internet cannot get you an answer to. So like if you are curious about something, if you have a question, if you are trying to get started with something, like just ask the internet and it will give you a pretty good answer. So I mean, yeah,
Just nowadays you really just can't make any excuses.
I know.
Source out there, so there should be no reason why you should make an excuse.
There is just such an abundance of information that there's no reason why you can't get the answers that you're looking for. All right, we got a couple more questions, then we're going to wrap it up. So if you could go back in time and tell your 16-year-old self one thing, what would that one thing be?
That one thing I would have told myself at 16 years old is I should have stayed going to a community college instead of going to a private university. I only went there for about a year and a half before I dropped out. And the reason why I actually went there is because originally it was stupid, but it's because I had a girlfriend at the time. And we both went to the same school, but we broke off like a couple months later. And from there, I decided to see if I could finish out my sophomore year of, being in Johnson Wales, but I eventually dropped out of it because I couldn't just afford going there anymore. And I really lost my interest in that school. So I went back to Tampa to live with my mother, and here I am in Hillsborough Community College, but I'm still struggling to pass these classes that I'm in right now. And I personally just want to take a break from school and to see if this is something I really want to continue or not with my life. So.
That's real. That's real. I mean, yeah, community college can be a great way to get your, at least your generals done at a much lower cost. And I mean, even like something like learning a trade can be a much more cost-effective way. Like if your only goal in life, I mean, this probably isn't the case for you, but if somebody's out there who just wants to get by on like a $70,000 a year salary, like learning a trade can be a very good way to do that. Like learn how to be a plumber, learn how to be an electrician, take 2 years of education, and you'll get yourself a very nice paying job, especially right now when all the baby boomers are retiring. So I mean, that's definitely,
those jobs are in demand. So
I'm saying,
don't just focus on school, on going to college itself, university. There's so many different options. Also, you just can't limit yourself just because of what society or your family has told you, and it could be pressuring. It may sometimes you could feel shame if you don't do what they told you to do.
But I mean, society has no face, so it's pretty easy to tell society to right off. All right, so last thing before we go, where can people find out more about you and about Operation Retirement?
Operation Retirement can be found on Instagram. I'm operations.retirement.
Okay.
And you can find our website at operationretirement.org.
Okay. Any place where they can find out more about you personally?
You can also find it on my personal Instagram.
Okay.
My personal is Carlos Davila Jr. Just
perfect. I will link that up. I'll link all that stuff up in the show notes as well. Well, Carlos, thank you very much for being on the show today. I really do appreciate you appearing here. You taking the time out of your day to talk with us. And I think you provided a ton of value for our audience who is interested in both investing and in going out there and actually creating some content themselves, because I think both of those things are very near and dear to me, because I mean, I'm out there learning and creating on personal finance every single day. So I think a lot of our audience can definitely get a ton out of this interview we just did. So I thank you very much for all the insights and information that you brought to our audience today. And I hope to hear from you soon. Anything you want to say before we head out?
I just want to say thank you, Apple, for this opportunity and to be able to have the time with you to do this interview. I mean, it's my first ever interview with anybody, so this is
all right. Props to you, man. You did a great job. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Carlos, for being on the show. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and I just appreciate you being here to share your experience with our viewers, because I know I got a lot out of this conversation. I hope you guys did as well. I got a lot of stuff that I'm going to go put into action after hearing about Carlos's blog and his Instagram page, so I hope you guys got a lot out of that. And for our money pun of the day, where do beavers keep their money? In the damned riverbank. Next week, we'll be at it with the 9th installment of Young Smart Money, so we're really getting up there, guys, almost to the 2 digits. Really exciting stuff going on. But if you can't wait until then for your next installment of financial literacy content, I have a ton of free resources for you. So let me go through those one by one. The first one, the show notes for this episode, we can cover the books that we mentioned, any links to Carlos's sites, all that good stuff. That'll be at applecrider.com/008 if you guys are interested in that at all. And applecrider.com in general is just a great resource for getting some good financial resources for you. Additionally, I have a free online video lecture course called $100 in a Smartphone. Really just guides college students and high school students and really anybody who's just trying to invest their first $100 through how to do that via their smartphone. And then additionally, you can always find me on YouTube. youtube.com/applecrider is where you can find all of my uploads. Additionally, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook. All of those just at applecrider is where you can find me. All right, guys, thank you very much for checking out Young Smart Money today with me, your host, Applecrider. And before I go, I want to challenge you guys. I want to challenge you guys to do something that's very, very meaningful to me and that really I believe in very, very much, and that is to create something. Now, this doesn't have to be something crazy. This doesn't have to be like making a feature-length film and submitting it to the Sundance Film Festival. No, I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm really just talking about talking about something that you enjoy and sharing it with people. So this could be anything from maybe an Instagram post. So maybe you are very into bugs and you want to make an Instagram post that tells people a little bit about a certain kind of bug or how to differentiate a grasshopper from a, I don't know, what's that other thing that looks kind of like a grasshopper? I can't even remember. But just like put something out there that provides value to people and that has to do with something that you enjoy. So that could be an Instagram post, could be a Facebook post, could be an infographic that you put up on social media, could be a YouTube video, could be a podcast, like just really low stakes, because you got to remember that you're never committed to anything. You're never charting yourself a defined path that you can never stray from. There's always room to wander, and there's always room to figure out what you actually want to do. So I think it's really important to just take those first steps and put something out there, because then you can see if you like doing that, you can see how people react to that. And if you don't put anything out there, how are you ever going to know what you enjoy doing? So my challenge to you is just put something out there. And if you guys want to, definitely feel free to share it with me, DM it to me on Instagram, shoot me a Facebook message, apple@applecrider.com. All of these great places. I would love to see what kind of content you guys are producing, because I just think it's really, really cool to see people actually doing stuff, make stuff happen. It makes me very, very happy. To see people doing cool stuff like Carlos is with Operation Retirement, like all these creators are on YouTube, on Instagram. So if you guys are doing cool stuff already, definitely shoot that to me as well, and I can be sure to give you guys a shout out on the YouTube channel, on the podcast, whatever. I love giving people some visibility, because I know it's tough as a starting out creator, getting that early visibility and getting your name out there. So I'm definitely willing to help out anybody who is in that place. Anyways, guys, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. I really would appreciate it. And right now we're sitting at about 6 or 7 reviews, I think. So every single one counts. And I love hearing what you guys have to say on that. It really does help me edit and audit the show to be more valuable to you guys and to just provide you guys with as much information and whatever you guys want as possible. So for Young Smart Money, my name is Applecrider. I will see you next week.